Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our info session for our Vogt Awards applicants. We will give everyone just about 2 more minutes and then we'll get started with the information we have to share with you, just letting everybody get logged on and get settled in. Thank you for joining us. We'll give everyone 1 more minute to get logged on. Okay, it is 2 minutes after noon. I want to be very respectful of your time. I have a lot of information that I'm excited to share with you, and I do want to thank you again on behalf of the Community Foundation of Louisville for having you join us for this information session as you may prepare your Vogt Awards application. This is what we'll do with our time today. I have quite a bit of information to share with you just in general about the program. I will share with you what the Vogt Awards are, what the program entails, who is an ideal candidate, some of the pieces of information that you'll need to gather perhaps in advance of preparing your application. I want to share with you the scoring rubric that you will be scored on in your written application, some important dates to make note of, and then I will take some time just to walk you through the Vogt Awards website so you know exactly where to apply and where you can find additional information. And then I'll walk through the application questions themselves. Because this is a webinar format, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and drop any questions that you have in the chat, and we will answer those at the end of the sharing of information with you today. So we will answer those today. I'll do my very best along with my partner in crime from the Community Foundation, Donna Brown, and she will help navigate the chat questions for us near the end of today's time. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, again, on behalf of the Community Foundation of Louisville, who is responsible and is the stewards of the Vogt Awards, I want to share with you just a little bit about the background of what makes this program possible. The Community Foundation is very fortunate to be the shepherds, the stewards, if you will, the overseers of the Vogt Invention and Innovation Fund. This is the fund at the Community Foundation that makes the Vogt Awards grant and accelerator program possible. And we are so fortunate for a wonderful entrepreneur. His name was Henry Vogt Sr., who was a manufacturer. He was an innovator. He was a tinkerer. He was someone who truly admired and enjoyed creating and building not only products, solving hard problems, but also businesses. In addition, he was quite a philanthropist. And so he is responsible for leaving the $5 million endowment that made the Vogt Awards possible with the Community Foundation. So we are deeply indebted to the Heiser family for making that possible. And again, the Community Foundation makes sure that principle stays intact. And this is a legacy program. So this will continue and go on and on and on to serve the entrepreneurial community of Louisville. So again, on behalf of the Community Foundation, I want to thank you all for joining us. That's a little bit of the history. There is more about that legacy and history on the website if you care to read some more about that and where this came from. I should note for all of you that it is very unique to have philanthropy or philanthropic dollars being invested or granted to entrepreneurial startups and founders. That doesn't usually happen. And so I'm very pleased to be associated as the program director with the Vogt Awards to make that possible. All right, so let's get into it. So what are the Vogt Awards? So essentially, the Vogt Awards are two things. First of all, it's a grant, which means funding for those that are selected, and it's also an accelerator program. And an accelerator program, we will select through a process 6 businesses that will participate as this year's cohort in the Vogt Awards Accelerator. Each of those 6 companies selected will receive $25,000 of grant funding. And by grant funding, we call that non-dilutive, which means that this is a grant. It is given to the 6 companies. There is no requirement to pay that money back. And the founders get to retain full 100% ownership of the business. This is a 10-week rigorous startup program, right? And what happens during this 10 weeks of time is that we will literally work with the founders to help them advance their companies during that program period. They'll receive coaching from very experienced founders in the community. They'll each be matched with a mentor to work with them as well. They'll have access to our Vogt Awards alumni who have participated in previous years. We make a lot of very strategic, important introductions to various other folks in the startup community. And it is wonderful that the cohort really bond together and they have that camaraderie together as they go through the program similarly. It is a very fast-paced program, as you can imagine. And all of this culminates in an event which we call Vogt Awards Demo Day, and that's where our cohort has the opportunity to present their business to the larger startup and business community. So that's a little bit about what the Vogt Awards are. So who are we looking for, right? What makes an ideal candidate? We're looking for those businesses that are for-profit, and they need to be located in our 13 county MSA in the Louisville region. So what an MSA is, a metropolitan statistical area, they can be either located in the southern Indiana area, and you see the counties that we're looking at there, or in the Louisville region in Kentucky, and you see the counties that make up the 13 county region to allow you to be eligible. We also need you to have your business registered with the Secretary of State, either in Indiana or in Kentucky. And it must say that your business is in good standing, which simply means that you have filed an annual report with either of those states each year. We have the links for where you can look up your own business to make sure A, that it's registered, and B, that you're in good standing for either Indiana or Kentucky. So we're looking for businesses that are developing innovation, something unique, something that has not existed in the marketplace before. And this can be either a product or it can be a service, either one, right? A physical product or it can be a service, but it must be innovative, unique, something new to the market, okay? We would like for you to have a prototype or what we call an MVP, a minimum viable product, right? Something very simple that can show what it is that you're eventually going to create in the final solution. You do not need to have your final product developed at this point. We know you're not there yet, but if you have a prototype, whether that is using Canva, PowerPoint, physical product, anything that you can fashion that is an early example of what your eventual solution might look like, right? We're looking for that. That is very helpful. You cannot have received more than $250,000 per year of customer revenue. It's great if you have customers, but there's a threshold, no more than $250,000 in a year of customer revenue. And as far as how much other funding you may have received, we're looking at a lifetime maximum, no more than $500,000. And that does include grants, any other forms of funding. It does not include your founder, your personal investment. So that's excluded. But any other forms of funding, angel investment, friends and family, gifts, grants, funds, etc., no more than $500,000. And then finally, we're looking at businesses that are independent. You stand on your own. You are not a subsidiary of another company. You are not a corporate spin-out of a larger business. This is an independent for-profit business that we're looking for. All right. This is a quick list of those items that will be asked in the application that you might want to have ready in advance. You can certainly look at all the application questions in advance. And when you do prepare your application, my recommendation to you is that you go ahead and create your responses in maybe like a Word document, so you can really kind of think about them, be succinct, be brief, to the point. You like what you've written, and then you can simply copy and paste into the application. You'll need a one-sentence elevator pitch, a summary of your business. You'll be able to tell us a description of the problem in the market that you're trying to solve for, and a little bit about your solution. You'll want to tell us about your team and what makes your team the one that's going to make this happen in the market. What are their capabilities or their experiences? Tell us a little bit about the market opportunity. Why is the market ripe for this type of solution? And then how will you go about marketing and sales? What is your strategy as you know it at this point? We will be asking for your high level financial projections, very high level. We know these are assumptions at this point in time. And then finally, in addition to the written application, you'll also be preparing a 1 to 3 minute short video that includes the founder or co-founders, whichever you have. So those are some of the things you'll need in advance, just so that you're prepared. So I want to introduce you to Maggie Harlow. Maggie is the owner of Sinorama Louisville. She's an entrepreneur. She is on a number of various nonprofit boards. She is deeply committed to the Louisville startup community. She has participated not only on our selection committee in the past, but Maggie has also participated as a mentor to a prior founder in a cohort. And we are so very fortunate that she is this year's 2024 Selection Committee Chair. So she oversees the selection process as well as the members of the community committee that come together to make the final decisions. So I am not part of the committee. I support them. I support Maggie, but I want you to know that there is a community-wide, very diverse committee that makes the selection decisions. And we are very fortunate to have Maggie participate this year as the committee chair. A little bit on how the selection committee will be scoring your application and as they review your video. So first and foremost, they are going to take a look at you, at the founders, right? They want to understand your leadership capability as you explain that, and really understand, do you have a passionate desire to solve a particular problem, hopefully a very painful problem or a big problem in the marketplace with your solution, right? Do you have a deep understanding of that problem? And do they get the sense that they connect with your why? Why are you passionate about solving this particular problem? They'll want to hear that story in your application. They also want to get the feel or the sense that you are a coachable founder and that you can actually execute and scale a business, right? That is comes across in your application. They'll look at your solution. Does it seem reasonable at this point in time? We know you're early. Does it seem reasonable that your solution will solve a pain point for your customers? Is there a large market who wants to solve this problem? And are they willing to pay for your solution, right? As much as you can tell us about that market opportunity. They'll be looking to see how you have validated your assumptions in your business, how you have validated the market need, the market demand, etc. We also want to know from your unique solution, what makes it unique against your competitors, right? What is that protectable competitive advantage that if you can launch this solution, your product or your service into the marketplace, that it uniquely is competitive and stands out against the competition? What is your advantage in the marketplace? Is there a potential exit path for your business? Do you eventually look to have your business acquired? Do you eventually imagine, an IPO, an initial public offering? What is your goal or aim for your business over the long term? And then finally, what's the economic impact potentially of your business, right? Eventually, do you anticipate that it's venture backable, meaning that you're going to look for outside investors at some point to help you grow the business? Will you eventually have an opportunity to create jobs, which then creates payroll taxes? Will it help to attract talent? Is there other indirect investment from the community that's possible or has potential in terms of your business's economic impact for the Louisville region? So if you haven't met or know any of the prior Vogt Awards alumni, these are a big screen of a lot of logos here, but I did want to just make reference of this, that we have a very, very strong alumni group of various previous years cohorts that have participated in the Vogt Awards Accelerator, and they've benefited from the grant funding. These are some of their companies. You may see a number of them in the news. They have been very fortunate to go on to some great success, other outside investment in their businesses. They've created wonderful, high-paying jobs, and the good vast majority of these continue to remain in business. So I just wanted to make you aware of that, and I'll show you also where they are located on the website in just a moment. These are some important dates that I want to be sure you are aware of, and a little bit about how our timeline goes relative to the selection process as well as the program itself. So, big reminder, the application deadline for this year is May 28th at 11:59 p.m. So that's after Memorial Day, May 28th. Be sure that you have hit the submit button on that date so that we receive your application. You are welcome to apply before that date, but that is the deadline, so May 28th. We have selection day, right? There are actually 2 rounds of selection, but the final is selection day, July 17th. Those who are our finalists, and we will select 10 finalists, will participate in person with our selection committee on July 17th. That is almost a full day that is required of our 10 finalists to participate in person on that day. That is the day that the selection committee will determine this year's cohort. Then we jump right into it. The program itself, the accelerator program, runs on Thursday afternoons from noon to 5 o'clock each Thursday for 10 Thursdays. The first day that we meet is August 1st, and we go until October 9th. So that is 10 weeks of accelerator program days. And those are also in person, and that will be held at Story Louisville at their East Market Street location. So we'll be at Story in person with the cohort and lots of other folks coaching you along the way. And then finally, our last day together for those selected is our Vogt Awards Demo Day event. That is planned for October 10th, and that'll be at the Kentucky Derby Museum. So those are some of the milestone highlight dates, just to make reference. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint, and I'm going to now jump over to our Vogt Awards website just to navigate that a little bit with you. There we go. So if you type in votawards.com, or if you go directly to the Community Foundation's website and you will find the Vogt Awards, this is where you land. This is the homepage of the Vogt Awards web pages on the Community Foundation site. And you will come right here. You'll know you're in the right place. You see Vogt Awards. I just want to walk you through a little bit about the information here and where you can apply. And right off the bat, anywhere you see the word apply with a hyperlink, you can click on that link and that will take you to the application portal. Okay. Again, a reminder, all applications are due May 28th. I thank you again for participating in today's info session there. If you didn't catch the blog that talks a little bit about the 5 key traits that make a great candidate, you can go back and find that here right on the homepage. Here's a nice snapshot of last year's cohort. You may know some of those companies. And I'm just scrolling down, but here's some really good information, right? There are 4 squares or rectangles that you see right here, applying for a Vogt Award, Vogt Awards alumni, the legacy of the program, and frequently asked questions, okay? Keep scrolling on that homepage at the bottom. That's where you'll find this. I'm going to click on Apply for the Vogt Award. And now you come to the page giving you good information about how to apply. Again, you can click right here. You can click here. This will take you to the application. If you keep scrolling down, the timeline or the commitment, you'll see that here. You'll see more detail around the eligibility criteria, and you'll find the frequently asked questions. Okay? If you were to click on the timeline, this is going to tell you a bit about the time commitment and the process of selection. So once we notify our 10 finalists on June 21st, then you can see what follows all the way up until we have selection day and then all the way through demo day. So those are the dates, the milestone dates that we have as part of this program. If you just click the back button, you'll jump right back. The eligibility criteria. Again, here are the general requirements of participating in the program if selected. Here are the mandatory criteria that we will check with your application. And then we give you some helpful information around the selection committee and the strongly preferred criteria. And again, we're looking at businesses that are using technology in some way to advance their solution into the marketplace, right? So technology enabled, an innovative product or solution, and a business that can ultimately grow. The decisions of the Vogt Award selections are final, and we will not reconsider an application after the fact. So that's some information there. You can print that out about the eligibility criteria. We jump back, and here you can find some frequently asked questions. So these are questions we've been asked over time that we've just simply spelled out for more info, just to give you some more background over time. And of course, my contact information, as well as Ramona with the Community Foundation, always present. And we're always available to you. Neither Ramona nor I are on the selection committee, so we're always happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so that is where you'll see some important information to review, which is in the apply page. And again, you can apply, it's in lots of places. I want to just come over here to legacy. I'm not going to spend a lot of time just going back over the history, but it is there. There's a lovely picture of Mr. Henry Heiser, the benefactor who left the original endowment, his son, who is still with us today. But I do want to mention or highlight for you the impact that the Vogt Awards has made since 2000. So since 2000, the Community Foundation of Louisville has provided grant funding, $3.8 million in grant funding through this program to 108 companies since 2000. And because those companies receive rigorous training and education and advance their business, they're very prime and ripe for other additional investment by other entities after the fact. And so $200 million has been awarded to Vogt Award alumni companies as they continue to grow their startups. And we're very pleased that 38% of all of the grants that have been awarded to women or founders of color. And this is important as well, that our cohort is representative of our business community. So I just want to show you that impact. And then if you choose, you can also come back around to some of the Vogt Awards alumni. This is the portfolio, last year's class. And by year, you can see exactly which companies were selected and a very short description about each in their particular cohort. And again, some of these may be very familiar to you. If you choose to reach out to any of them for some assistance or some insight, that's probably not a bad idea. But there they are. And you can see all different types of businesses, different industries, different solutions in the marketplace, as they have developed many of their products going forward. And so you'll continue to see those as well. All right, so that information, you can get to that all from the homepage here, the landing page of Vogt Awards. And again, wherever you see the hyperlinked apply, you can certainly do that, right? So the last thing that I just wanted to go through with you is actually the application and just highlight some of the questions that will be asked of you. When you click on apply, this is going to take you to the application portal. And this is what it looks like. You'll see again, here's last year's cohort right at the top. You'll see the Vogt Awards. So this is the application portal. We use the platform called Gust, but again, you know you're in the right place when you see the Vogt Awards, and there's the magic button for submit your company to start your application. We give you some background information, which we've already gone over, as you can see right there on that page. So that is the application portal. So I will stop sharing. And my last thing to share with you or to go over are the Vogt Award questions that you'll be asked. This is a Word document. I am happy to send this out afterwards because you have participated in our info session. It is the exact same information that is in the application portal. So we saw background information, eligibility criteria. Here's where the committee will give some stronger preference. But I do want to direct you to your instructions. You will complete a written application by May 28th, and you will include a short 1 to 3 minute video. This does not have to be professionally produced. This is just simply on your iPhone or your computer camera. We don't need anything elaborate, but not to exceed 3 minutes in length. And it needs to include the founder, which may be you, and or if you have a co-founder, talking to us a little bit about your capabilities, the problem you're solving, and the solution you have in mind or plan to launch into the marketplace, and why you think you'll be successful. Why will you succeed in doing this, right? We really want to understand your passion around this. And again, your why. Why is this important to you to get this into the marketplace? I do want to just remind anybody who might be a repeat applicant, and we do have quite a number who do repeat with the same company if they were not selected before, or even a new company. That's fine too if it's a new company. You must start a new application, right? Don't think that a prior application will be read. It will not. You must start a new application. The reason for that is that we do each year tweak the questions. We also tweak and tighten up the scoring rubric. We want to be sure your current 2024 application is being reviewed against this year's questions and this year's scoring rubric, right? You are welcome to copy and paste from a prior application into a new application if you like, but you must have a new one this year. Okay, so in the application questions, of course, we will ask you for your company, a short elevator pitch statement. This is a very short single sentence description of your business and other basic information. We'll ask for your contact information. So here's my plea for you here. If you create a new email address for your new company you're building, make sure you check that inbox, because that will be the email address we will send any correspondence to. And so we want to be sure that you are checking that inbox. And be sure that we have your phone contact information, cell numbers, etc., for your founders, because if we can't reach you by email, we'll next go to trying to text and trying to reach you. So make sure that's correct and complete. We do like to know all of the URLs of various social channels that you're using. If you're using Facebook for your business, if you're using LinkedIn, if you're using Twitter, now X, if you're using TikTok, Instagram, please let us know your social media channels and those links. We'll ask you for a company summary of your business, your product or service, your business model. We want to know a lot about your team. Who's going to make this successful? What's their experience to be able to do this, right? Tell us about that team. Very important question. Talk to us about the problem that you're trying to solve in the marketplace. Tell us a little bit about the overall target market, right, that you're targeting there. So you may say that, for example, my target market is going to be hospitals in the Midwest that have 650 beds or more. That might be your target market. Specifically, your customer is someone that has a specific title. Who's paying you? Who will pay you, right? Using our hospital example of our target market, our customer might be the purchasing agent at this type of hospital, right? That's who's going to actually pay the bill to you. Who's going to pay for your solution? Your business model will tell us, how do you plan to make money with your business? Tell us how you will make money, right? Again, your competitive advantage. What is it that you uniquely have in your solution that sets you apart, that drives potential customers to your solution? Are you first in the marketplace? Is there a specific patent? Is there a unique process? Do you have special expertise? What is it that makes it very distinctly advantageous in the marketplace? Tell us about your product or your service and the benefits that your customer will eventually receive. With your sales and marketing strategy, this is where you tell us how will you get customers, how will you keep your customers, and then how will you grow? I'm sure some of you have heard that, get, keep, grow. How will you get them? How will you keep them? How will you grow your customers eventually? Initially, I do want to know, how will they even find you? How will they know your product exists, right, in the marketplace? And then give us a high-level overview of the competitors in your market and what you believe to be their strengths and weaknesses. We ask you for some very high-level financial information. Are you currently raising a round of funding? If you're not, perfectly fine. If there has been fundraising in the past, tell us about that. And then very high level, your 3-year annual financials, right? Your projections that you anticipate. We know, again, these are all assumptions at this point. Do your best, right? Finally, we have a number of specific custom questions. These are specific to the Vogt Awards. Importantly, how do you plan to use the $25,000 grant funding if you are a recipient? What is going to really put that money to good use and help you advance your business? Go ahead and give us the LinkedIn pages for all of the founders. Those are the links from LinkedIn so we can read more about their background. Which team member is going to be responsible for sales and marketing? How will you find new leads for customers? And if you have any customers right now, how many do you have and who's your largest? Okay. Are you currently generating recurring revenue, or is it a one-time purchase for your business model? Tell us a little bit about the expenses so far, year to date, for sales and marketing in the past year. And do you know what it might cost you to acquire at least one new customer once your business is at scale? Then tell us who's responsible for product development on the team, or writing any software or code or building the product, right? Who's responsible for that? Is it somebody who's with your company? Is it somebody you've contracted to do this? Just let us know how that is happening. And then, of course, what is the gross margin for your product? Gross margin meaning if you were to take, income minus expenses, that tells you what your margin is, your gross margin or your profit. Have you filed any patent application or any other intellectual property? And there we've got some examples of what that might include. If you do have revenue, and it is not required that you have customers or revenue now, but if you do, can you please tell us what the monthly revenue is for each of the last 12 months? And of course, we want to just double check that you haven't raised more than $250,000 in customer revenue and that you haven't received more than $500,000 in funding, other funding, grants, loans, investments, other types of investment or gifts to the company, other than the founders. And then finally, if you will double check again, just tell us what county you're located in either Kentucky or Indiana that's within our Louisville region. Okay? Pretty straightforward. There is a lot that we ask for. It is an extensive application, I will say. I do think that if you have not completed something like this before, you will find this a very good exercise, right? A very good exercise. It really makes you think about your startup as a business and asks you to kind of define and explain and describe your business to others in a way that we are very familiar with in this framework. And again, I just want to remind you that as program director, I'm here to help you in any way that I can. Okay? All right. I'm going to stop sharing. And Donna's going to go ahead and let us know if there are any questions that perhaps have been added to the chat.
We do have a couple questions. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can.
All right. One we have just wanted to clear up at the beginning of the presentation, they mentioned 6 award recipients, but then they thought they heard 10 finalists. Are there 6 or 10 $25,000 grants available?
Right. So there will be 10 finalists who will advance to selection day. They'll participate and present during selection day with the full selection committee. And from that day, 6 awards, 6 grants, 6 companies will be selected to the cohort. And then 6 companies will participate in the Vogt Awards program from the 10 finalists.
I did mention when I responded that you do alternates as well, just in case.
We do select alternates just in case, yes.
Okay, next
That's a good question.
question.
I'm glad
Yes.
that was clarified.
Yes. You mentioned it should be an independent company and not a subsidiary.
Mhm.
If I am building a product and for the sake of keeping it separate from the rest of the business, I create another company under my current company, will this disqualify me?
If the new company is its own LLC, let's say, and you register that new company under that new name, that new LLC with the Secretary of State, that is considered a separate, unique entity.
Gotcha. Oh, and someone asked, am I assuming correctly that this is a 10-week program? If we were to be one of the 6 selected, it is separate from the Launch It program we recently participated in.
Yes, this is completely separate and different than the Launch It program. I am very familiar with the Launch It program. I love the Launch It program. University of Louisville's Launch It program is a pre-accelerator program. This being the Vogt Awards, we are targeting startups, early stage companies that are slightly later down the road in advancement than those that might have participated in Launch It. But this is a separate program, and it is its own separate 10-week Thursday afternoons, noon to 5 for those 10 weeks. August 1st to October 9th.
Gotcha. Is there somewhere we can see an example application video?
I don't know that that is shareable, but that is a very good question. And so let me give that some thought, and if we can incorporate an example that would not be proprietary to any other company, we can include that in our follow-up email to all of the attendees.
This is about a prototype. Does a relatively low fidelity, black and white, not 100% feature complete, wireframe in Figma count as a prototype?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is perfect. This is, I love that low fidelity. Yes.
Yeah.
This is absolutely the early first iteration, maybe prototype of what your solution may look like. Wireframe would be perfect. I seriously, I've had people who have just said, I've just mocked up something in PowerPoint. That's okay. If you use Canva, that's great. You know, if you can kind of just give us a mock-up of what eventually your product or app or software solution, whatever it may be, looks like, that is perfect, right? And if it's strictly a service, if you can kind of show us in what way innovation is making your service unique, that would be helpful in any way, shape, or form, whatever medium you choose to use to build and show that prototype, that would be fine. That would be perfect. We do not want you to spend any, money at this point. This is early, minimum viable prototype.
Okay. If there are two co-founders, but one of them works remotely, is it okay for the one who is physically in Louisville to attend the Thursday sessions alone?
Yes, it is. We'd love to have both, always. Both are always invited, but we certainly understand the advantages of remoteness. And so as long as one can attend the startup for each of the 10 sessions and then also demo day, that will suffice.
And is it okay not to have a social media presence? Or should
Sure.
we create accounts for the purpose of the application?
No, I don't want you to create anything that at this point you're either not ready for, or if you don't find value in it at this point, and maybe that's a consideration for you down the road, that is perfectly fine. Just let us know that you don't have any at this point, but don't create something special for the application at this time.
And then it looks like the last question, somebody might be having some problems with the teams cutting in and out. There will be the recording of this will be posted on the website, but they also want to know, will the Word document with the application details requirement be sent to them?
Yes. The answer to both
Absolutely.
is yes. We
Yep.
will take this recording and post this to the website later on, and then we will also send out the Word document so that you can see all of those questions. That's a nice little help either way. And then you can go ahead and begin to compile your responses for when you do prepare your application.
Those were great questions. I think we've got them all.
Yes, great questions.
One more popped up. Can solo funders apply? Is there a preference for two founder teams?
Solo founders are perfectly fine and eligible, right? Sometimes we do like if there's a co-founder situation, it's just not always possible, or it just simply may not be the case. But we want you to know that the solo founder, if selected, would be the one to be required to attend all of our 10-week sessions. If there's co-founders, ideally, we would want both co-founders there if possible, but at least one from each of the companies selected. But there's no points given either way in terms of whether there's one or two.
Okay, I think we're good. Oh, she said thank you for the session.
Great, my pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for investing this time to learn more about the Vogt Awards. I wish you, of course, the best of luck. This is a really, truly good exercise, actually, just to go through the process. It may not seem like that at this point, but I promise you, you will learn a lot in just simply applying. And remember, you can't win if you don't apply. So really give this some very strong consideration and thought as you prepare your application. And again, we'll post the recording to the website. We'll send the Word document with the questions. And always know that I'm available. You've got my contact information to answer any questions, clarify anything. Happy to do that. And apply by May 28th. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, Lisa.